very tough question. I think we're in the right path, but I think again, and on this I echo the words about the regulation. Like, for example, in our case, the beginning was also problematic. Just to give you some context, Paris tender, I think, was 4 or 5 years ago, something like this. Rome was in 2022, and it lasted 1 year of bureaucracy to actually be implemented. So now we have a regulated system in Italy in 2024. The company was built in 2018. So we had this vision to be pro-regulation, but it actually took a lot of time, not from our side, to actually implement. Of course, regulation and a limited number of operators is necessary in our business. We can never have a high utilization with thousands of scooters of 10 different companies in one city. That's not sustainable in our opinion. And then you're also very right. M&A is the next step. We just announced a deal with Tier, which is another big player in Europe, to build, let's say, the European champion, we call it, of micromobility. And therefore, I think with the combination of the two sides, the government and the private sector, to find, let's say, on the same road towards a more consolidation regulation, I think that also will allow profitability. Said that, the final goal is, of course, to increase the number of people using it. So that, of course, is also very important, but without the consolidation and the regulation, it wouldn't be possible.
Okay, thank you. I will leave Nicola at the end because he will present a very different kind of mobility. So please, Giacomo, you can start.
Okay. So I was saying this is just a different layer, and the question behind this presentation is you have seen services in mobility means technology. So how to bring technology, how to roll the technology into the services. The landscape is that this question is very clear to Europe. So Europe established some European digital innovation hubs in order to roll the technology digitalization in all the fields, industrial fields, from agriculture, food, health, manufacturing, and also into mobility. So since 2021, there are quite 400 centers, or better, aggregation of companies working in digitalization of their fields. And looking to the map, you can see that 48 of them are dedicated to mobility. Acadimotion, for which I'm the coordinator, is in Turin, and it is one of them. There is a small difference because Europe encouraged and also facilitated the creation of this network through different ways. So with direct funding, asking to the national and regional authorities to fund the projects, or also private funding. Okay. So the goals of Acadimotion is bring digital into the mobility in order to give acceleration to the transformation of the services into digitalized services and bringing the new technologies in that field. The final goal is to give competitiveness to public organization, but also to private entities, both from the technology point of view or service providers. There are a lot of companies working in, quite 10 companies working in the project, and they can cover all the technologies you see all around this picture. So from the digital mobility to the process, artificial intelligence, of course, the connection with the autonomous vehicles, and of course with a special look to the sustainability, both from social and environmental point of view. And also the logistics is included. But what is really relevant is that at the end of the day, the cooperation between research, means university, and companies can bring to a real effective approach and real application of the solution to the market. And the relevant consequences of this is that, of course, we can bring some advantages also to the final customer, that is the citizen, and also to the environment. Technologies. We have divided into two different categories. One is the enabling technologies, means technologies that are behind the creation of the services, and of course they are about the communication, about sensors to be put into the infrastructure or onto the vehicles, the cloud computing, so the capacity to store data and to give data, availability of the data, augmented reality and computer vision, and of course simulation in order to see in advance how the services can be deployed. The core technologies are well known and are cross-section, cross-industrial technologies, because they are artificial intelligence, the high-performance computing, and of course the cyber security, because the data must be secure. About the users, we expect that this program will especially sustain the small, medium enterprises, because big enterprises have enough money to spend into the new technologies or to start new programs, but normally the small, medium enterprises are much more, it's much more critical for them to have money or to have access to technologies to create their own service. And especially looking to the startup, this is much more evident for them because normally they don't have enough money or enough access to technology to start their activity. So we are looking as, let me say, business-to-business users, the mobility service providers, but all the companies dealing with transport, both for the public, so I mean passenger transport, and also for the goods transport, but also the vehicle manufacturers, and generally speaking, the public authorities. So who has to deal with the mobility? We have heard about some examples in the previous presentation. But what are, at the end of the day, the real services that can be provided by Acadimotion? Following the 4 pillars of the European Digital Innovation Hubs, there are 4 pillars. The first one is to create the right environment to support testing before investing. So creating some concept of, to prove that the idea can work and in which way it can work, which technologies can be involved, and in which way they can be merged together. The second is to look to the education, so means to give to the operators and also to the people enough knowledge in order to apply the technologies. Sometimes also the leaders, so also the leaders of the companies needs this kind of approach, so they need to know about the advantages of the new technologies and the way they can be applied. Then, of course, as I said before, companies need money. So they must fund money in order to sustain their initiatives and to look for the profitability in a short time. And so in this way, funding entities are included in the partners. Some of them are banks, some of them are venture capital, have venture capital activities. So also the money can be put into the loop. And the fourth pillar is the network. because only working together, the complexity of the activities can be, at the end of the day, put into reality, put into production. Just to give two examples. This is a very easy example, and I think that has already been presented, but from looking from the technology point of view, putting together mobility as a service means to have one app, maybe one single point or maybe multiple point, but a single way to manage different way of transport. So the buses, the train, the private car, the public, the shared car, the bikes, the scooters, so all of them. Behind that, of course, there are a lot of technologies because you have to collect data, you have to collect information from your customer, you have to use those data in order to create all the path for the origin to destination. You have to deal with the communication, very fast communication. But at the end of the day, so the final user is the citizen. So it's really important also to look to the very last users. And a second example is much more easy and would be just put in evidence how very simple solution can be applied in a very easy way, and which advantage can bring, for example, to the public authorities. If we can put a very small acceleration sensor for acceleration on the e-scooter or e-bikes, we can understand how the roads are done, if there are potholes, if there are some obstacles for the users, avoiding them to have troubles or to have some accidents due to the condition of the road. It's something very simple, but of course it's based on the technologies, needs to have acceleration sensor, needs to have communication, needs to have localization, needs to bring data in one single place, and maybe also artificial intelligence in order to distinguish between the different situations, so if there is a real damage or not. So this is the last slide, and this concludes my presentation. Thanks to you for your attention. And there are my references. The project is going to start in the next days and will last for 2 years. So we are open also to have some customers to service in these new technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Vittorio. Now we have the last speaker, Nicola Genko from Thales Alenia Space, and he will present us a very different kind of mobility. So please, Vittorio.
Thank you. And luckily enough, that question on would I keep in